Greetings, Meta Sports, Coach Dundee, Dr. Ayman Black. I want to engage my listeners to some events that I am seeing on the horizon, and I wish to raise an alarm. I want to raise an alarm. And the alarm is directed at those who are lovers of sports, those who are lovers of the beautiful game, those who love soccer, those who have an interest in football, international football. It's the most widely played game in the world, soccer, football. And there are over 200 countries that belong to the International Federation of Football. So I'm on one to make the connection between FIFA, Trump, and World Cup 26, which is scheduled to be held in North America and Mexico. I'm raising the alarm based upon the events that are unfolding in our political world. I raise the alarm because of the actions of the President of the United States of America. And I want to raise the alarm to those who are anticipating a beautiful World Cup 26. So gather your thoughts and listen. FIFA, for those who are not certain of what I'm speaking about, FIFA, that's an acronym. FIFA represents the world governing body for international football. It's perhaps the most powerful organization on the earth. It has more members attached to it than the United Nations. We're talking about FIFA. And FIFA oversees and governs a beautiful game. This game captures the imagination of genders, races, and classes of people because it's an expression of play. And play is intrinsic in all individuals. Every individual engages in play. Whether you play with others, or you play with yourself, or you play on a piece of paper with a you're playing your mind, we all play. So it's important that we understand the value of play and the value of international sport. This FIFA World Cup was brought on stream in the 1930s. The idea of a world champion, a true world champion, playing in a team sport. And so in international football, it's the only game in which we really find a true world champion in a team sport, international football. So, the relation between international football and the Trumpian administration will come to a crossroads as we approach World Cup 26. Forest. Yes, on the return. So we want to see the link between FIFA, Trumpian administration, World Cup 26, and I am issuing the alert. This World Cup is a special World Cup. And again, for those who know, understand the history of the World Cup, first one was played in 1930. 1930. And the traditional giants of the World Cup have been two continents that carry the strength of international football. South America, the land of the King, Pele, Brazil, and Europe, the land of the princes of football, Beckenbauer, Cruyff, etc. South America speaks about Pele, Diego Maradona. Europe speaks about Beckenbauer and Cruyff and Stefano. These are the areas, these are the places that football World Cup moves back and forth to find a winner. World Cup is played every 4 years and has been postponed once for two tournaments during the European wars. But from that time on 1950 onwards, we have had a World Cup every 4 years. And there's been a ding-dong struggle between Europe and South America to define the world champion. But FIFA, with its financial aspirations beginning in 1970, began to bring media commercialization into the game, and the game has now become a billion-dollar industry. And FIFA decided to expand the World Cup to allow what they call other nations to participate. So the World Cup began with 16 teams, with more than half of them coming out of Europe. Another great portion coming from South America. And there's one from CONCACAF, usually Mexico, one from Africa, usually Egypt, one from Oceania, usually Australia. And so it has been that kind of way, 16 nations from the 1960s onwards. But then in 1998, FIFA made an expansion of the World Cup. And they opened it up from 16 teams to 32 teams. And that allowed a small space for island like Jamaica reggae boys to find their way onto the World Cup stage. Great achievement. Now in the meantime, soccer, football in America has had its own contradictions. Because in the first place, white man in America refused to call the game football. Because he determined what he called football is what he played with ball in hand and a pigskin and your gridiron. And the Americans defined that as football and refused to call international football football. So they chose the word soccer. Draw a sort of shortening of association, association, and from that they say they got soccer. So the Americans have been calling international football soccer. And they try to convince the whole world that the game is called soccer. I like the word soccer still. But soccer to me represents using of the mind as well as other parts of your body. Football gives you the impression that you only use your feet. But that's just a personal, of course. So we find that the United States have always defined itself as a world power in everything it engages in. Everything. Whether it's military, economical, as political, everything, except for international football. The Americans have a serious dissonance to the game since it's primarily a foot game. And the Americans are conditioned to play hand games. So hand-eye coordination, vital in American sports. For football, foot-eye coordination is essential. The idea of large scores, American coaches are accustomed to big results at the end of their games. 25, 14, 110 to 106, and large numbers. It was difficult and still is difficult for the white man in America to appreciate a game that is 1-0 or 2-1, unless he had a cultural touch of hockey. But ice hockey carries the same vibrations of international football. So America's always been at odds with football. And they have never been in a position yet to really claim to be number one in the world. Yet America has entered several tournaments. America has never reached the top two yet. Never been to a final in the World Cup. And I can't remember them getting to a semi-final. So that has always been a sort of nengi in the American sporting psychology. And so soccer is sort of relegated to fifth or sixth on the ladder. We have NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball. All of these are more primary sports in America than international football. But the football crowd has been growing. It has been, serious campaigns to expand the game in America. Women's football, initially college football, opening of the North American Soccer League, introduction of tele, and behind tele, all other international greats followed. Beckenbauer, Carlos Alberto, George Best. Everybody came to North America to get a chance to play against the King. Unfortunately, by the end of the 1970s, the North American League collapsed. For various reasons, which I want to go into now. But America has always struggled to represent itself the way it wants to at the World Cup level. Now, there's a time when America tried to challenge FIFA to change the rules and the game to suit the American culture. They pressured FIFA to change the size of the goal, to make the goal bigger, that more goals will be scored. FIFA said no. America brought in a new offside line that allowed forward to hang out closer to the penalty area. FIFA said no. America tried to convince FIFA that the game should be played in 4 quarters to allow commercials to run, etc. FIFA said no. FIFA has been the world power, and FIFA has been holding their own within their own structure, laws, and governance. And America tried to, as usual, be in charge. FIFA stands strong. Now, America is at a stage now where they have been named to host the World Cup of 2026. Won't be the first time they're hosting it, but it's the first time FIFA has moved to a level what I call nearly insane, where the host nation now is no longer a single country, but 3 countries. And in this situation, the United States, Canada, and Mexico have now become the host nation for FIFA's World Cup. Serious confliction, serious times and distances to travel, etc., etc. But I'm going to come to you with the main point of how does Trump get involved now with the FIFA World Cup and international football. One more pause. All right. So I think that's another break. Now, as a lover of the game and as a serious thinker as it relates to progression and African traditions and upliftment, the nations of Africa have always been at the rear of the development of international football. Let me put it that way. When FIFA established its World Cup, as I said earlier, there's only one nation that came out of Africa. So you think about it, 54 countries in Africa, and only one will come out to represent the entire continent. Europe had about 6 or 7 teams, usually dominated numbers of teams, but it's because it's their football why they control it to that level. Africa has been rising. African players have been moving into Europe, getting the experience. And so by 1990, Africa became a force. Black Africa, not Egypt, through the Cameroons, Ghana, Nigeria, African nations began to show promise to the level where FIFA now decided to allow 5 African nations to be in a position to get to the World Cup. Now, I say that because in the present times that we are living in the Trumpian administration and in the Trumpian era, the administration of America has laid out travel restrictions and some visa restrictions on certain nations, where those nations will no longer be able to have anybody acquire visas to travel into America. Raising the alarm. What will happen to nations if and when they qualify for the World Cup and they are on the list of America's, disqualified from entering the country? FIFA need to begin to look ahead at this contradiction and conflict on the horizon. Countries who play soccer, football, have to begin to think carefully about their investment and time into this World Cup qualifications. So if you are in a country that is on the list, should you want to engage in the qualifications? If your country is banned by Trump from entering, why should you be engaged in trying to enter and get a space at the World Cup? You see, raising the alarm. Because international football doesn't have any political borders. Will the players have to show their telephones? Will they have to reveal their social media history? Will that be a criteria whether a player can enter the country? And what will be the effect on the national team of that player? Haiti is already off the list. So it matters not what Haiti does at the elimination rounds. Haiti already cannot represent itself at a World Cup because Haiti has been put on the list where visas will not be allowed for Haitians to come into the country. What about the other African countries that have been on the list? What about Palestine? Will Palestine qualify and therefore not be able to participate? It's sports, but it is international politics. And I don't know if the Trumpian administration perceives the danger that lies ahead and the conflict. Because it's not only in football, the Olympics are being slated for Los Angeles. Are we to expect that anybody from any country who has any anti-American sentiments and are part of a national team for the Olympics, they should stay home? So the IOC and FIFA better get cracking and make it very clear to the nations what is it the Trump administration has put out for the environment in which these games will be played. I'm just raising the alarm because my interest is in the world's most beautiful game. And from this perspective, I man can see where there are going to be serious problems heading into this World Cup into America under the Trumpian administration. Immigration and the whole struggle of people who are not documented and who are anti-American, anti-Semitic. Are these going to be criteria to determine who comes into the country to play sport? International football bigger than this. And we now will only know what FIFA will do. What will FIFA and the IOC, how will they stand to this environment that America has now outlined? And should the games be played there? Should the international bodies begin to think about relocating these games? Because look, this is unprecedented. A World Cup being played across so many different spaces. I wonder who inspired this. All of this traveling and distance and uncertainties to play a World Cup tournament. Mexico, Canada, the US, hosting the World Cup tournament. People who understand the game must think about it. Think about the distance and the fact that under the climate, political climate in America, these are restrictions and these observations and surveillance of people and who they are from where they are in the country. We're disturbing. What about the audience? Is it that people who watch the game can come from certain countries to watch World Cup in America because they are being banned? What is the issue? So it's the FIFA, IOC, World of Sports. The Trumpian administration is having the world going around in a circle. The Trumpian administration has the whole world in a circle of uncertainty, dominance, and bullyism. Will those traits and characteristics spill over and influence international football? That certain players will not be able to come into the national program because they are not accepted by American standards. What is this all about? So this is a brief. This is just a brief. Sounding the alarm. International football. The Russians have been banned from the World Cup. Why won't Israel be also banned? If Russia is banned, Israel should be banned. Yeah, this is what we're talking about. The reality of sport exposing the nature of these people who run the planet. So you can give a feed forward. You can make your comments. Check on the Facebook. And in the meantime, you continue to support the iBlock School, Sunday School channel. But at this moment, we're dealing with sports. And the sports that we're looking at is a game that the world is in love with. As I speak, there is a loss of a great player out of the Liverpool system, died by a car accident, him and his brother. And the world of international football will mourn. Because international football is a global community. So Diego Jota has gone down, and the Liverpool has faced it, and England feel it, and the world feel it. And that is the connection in between international football and the world. So will we, the spectators, be permitted to see the best players at the World Cup, or will many of those players be unable because the country that they are in is on a ban list, or they have looked into their social media and don't like the things they said about America? Will America win this one under these conditions? Maybe this is the one where the rest of the world will come in very, very weak. Serious thing. Just raising the alarm. Raising the alarm. Haiti qualified for the 1974 World Cup. That's the level of football Haiti was playing. Haiti in the first match went 1-up on Italy. And whole of FIFA panic. If you could hold 1-0 lead, they actually went down 3-1 in the end of the match. But I say that to say that these are nations that are footballing nations. Yet if they were in a qualification position, they couldn't go any further. So maybe everybody now will begin to toe the mark and not say things bad about America. Maybe everybody knows America is beautiful. In the way Trump has now passed a beautiful bill. And everything will be just beautiful. But like good and evil, beautiful have a side called ugly. And the ugliness is on the horizon. Yeah, I'm on going out. That is a small input. Meta Sports coming to you from the studios. Conscious Movement. Again, you can visit my website, and in that visit, check my bookstore. And this is my contribution to international football. It's a coaching manual based upon my experiences, and it's called Thought Soccer. The development of thinking feet. Come on, Thought Soccer. This is my contribution to international football literature. It's available online. Just check www.I'mOnBlock Bookshop. So, I have a love for this. In going into America, in my first time, I recognized professional sports, and my ambition was to be a professional soccer player. Got there, didn't last long, because of a world of war. But got there long enough, and stayed long enough to have the privilege and the opportunity to meet and greet and play with the greatest player of all time. I'm the only Jamaican that has ever played in the same team and in the same club with King Pele. Most of the world players have played against the King. I had the privilege of playing with the King. And in that journey, and in those times, when the King said to Imar, "You're a good player. Just learn to play faster," I realized I could retire. Coaching has been my forte the last 35, 40 years. The coaching of international football at the local level of this Jamaica island. International football is what I brought. That's what I contributed coming to high school in the eastern part of Jamaica, Titchfield in particular, St. George's United Club, Premier League, Parish Championships. I've made my contribution, and it's now focused more on analysis and writing. So give thanks for the occasion to be able to communicate. And Iman will come forward because we are a good distance away from the actual World Cup. But I'm sounding the alarm. Read the climate. The Jamaican Reggae Boys are now in the final 12 to qualify from this region. Unfortunately, there's a disconnect between the Reggae Boys and the island. That the Reggae Boys now are literally a second division British club with no Caribbean, Jamaican vibration and culture. But that is the nature of the football. And so we still support and we celebrate that the Reggae Boys as an entity, and we're still only hoping that we get to this World Cup tournament. It's now 48 teams. So there's no great opportunity for everybody. No special space for the Reggae Boys. So what is needed for the Reggae Boys to advance is commitment, national consciousness. How to achieve that when you are being serviced with mercenaries. But what we need to know is the spirit of patriotism and the commitment from the players. And the spectators must be connected to the team to be that 12th man. Even that is all that is missing in Jamaica. We don't have a 12th man because the team is disconnected. But we'll see with all of that. We have got you. We have fight it. I'm not going to surrender. The ball is ball. So until the next time, peace and power to the island. And critically, stay fit. Yeah, so that's it. FIFA, Trump, World Cup football, World Cup 26. Travel restrictions on the horizon. The Olympics will also be in America. Raising the alarm. I'm gone.